Okay, so this is the long-awaited review of this 2011 Mustang. This is a rental car. I'm just going to do a quick walk around, kind of show you guys what it all looks like. It's a little dirty. That's because of the climate that I'm in. I'm in the southernmost part of California right now, so you know it's the desert and a lot of dust. This car's not as clean as I'd like it to be for this video, but I'm making do. This is the V6 Premium package. Has all leather. All the seats are leather. The seats are pretty deep though. That's a pretty good feature that they added. Got yourself a center console with USB auxiliary line in port, as well as just enough space to store a few of your things down there. iPod. I've got a GPS. Only 2 cup holders. Power windows, power door locks. Electrically assisted power steering, I guess you could say. Fairly small glove box, definitely not the biggest that I've seen. And by small I mean deep, not wide. It's got a really nice sound system for being just a stock, sound system. It does have Sirius satellite radio, as well as Microsoft Sync. The trunk space, when you get to the space part, isn't exactly all that bad. The problem is, because it's a small car, well, sports car anyways, there's not enough space to put things into the trunk. So you kind of have to really work with that. I had a somewhat of a difficult time getting my duffel bag through here, but I was able to get it in when I came down here for this trip. You also have full-size spare tire removal kit, as well as a emergency trunk release. Gas mileage, I've been getting a consistent 22 city, 30 highway. So the city part is a little bit better than what the EPA says, at least for me. Highway is pretty much spot on. Down here you have your info setup and reset buttons, which work your trip meter and info display. That's how many miles I've put on it since I've had this rental car. Tells you your average. Also has your best and worst fuel economy gauge. As you're driving, the bars go up more, the more economically you drive. It also has a timer, and one more turns it off. You go ahead and leave it on that one. Speedometer goes up to 160, and it redlines at just about 7,000 RPM. Gauge cluster is really nice. I actually really like how they have everything laid out here. You have your fuel gauge, your coolant temperature gauge, volt gauge for your battery, and your oil pressure gauge. Let's go ahead and show off the lights, turn the hazards on. And let's turn the headlights on. This is the 6-speed automatic with the new 3.7 liter engine. I'll show that off in a minute. It's rated at 300 some odd horsepower. I believe it's 305 with 280 foot-pounds of torque. Quick once over once more of everything. It's honestly not a bad car. It has its quirks, but that's because it is a rental car. And as you can see, one touch up on both windows brings them up without keeping your hand on it. So that's really cool. One thing I do really like is the steering wheel. I really like how they have everything laid out. All your phone controls and your multimedia controls are on the right side, while your cruise control is on the left side. Very comfortable steering wheel. They did a good job with that. The things that I don't really care for is when I have it in park or when I'm just turning the car on, I have to kind of reach my hand around or kind of look over and see what settings the AC is on at. Also, as you can see, if this was a 6-speed manual version, if you have, you know, anything in here in your cup holders, it's kind of going to be a pain in the ass because you're going to be leaning your arm against whatever you have there. So with an automatic, it's not all that bad, but if you're like me and like to rest your arms in places like this, or, you know, have it resting on top of the shifter, or just over here like this, that can kind of get in the way. One thing that I do think is cool though about that is it closes up when you're not using it. There's 2 cubby holes here on the side of the doors to keep stuff in. They're not very big and they're kind of awkward to get into. There's no other cup holders to be heard of on this car. This particular model has power seats, which is good. And I also forgot to mention it has 2 power jacks. I was worried when I first picked this up that it only had 1 because I keep, you know, my phone in one, my phone charging in one, and the GPS charging in the other. The other one is down below. My phone charger is hooked up to it. And let's go ahead and do a speed test if I can. It does have traction control built in. Another feature that I really liked with this car is the overdrive actually works really well, especially if you're going through hilly and windy terrain. And 3, 2, 1, go. And I'll go ahead and pull around here and do one more. You can really feel how much power this new V6 has. It's by no means, you know, as powerful as the new 5.0, and it has nowhere near as much torque, but you can really feel it. And I feel that for a V6, this is definitely good, you know, just if you're really worried about saving gas, but, you know, you're driving a Mustang, you want something that's somewhat fast. The new V6 is where you're going to want to be. Also, it's, you know, a lot cheaper. Go ahead and get lined up here for another 0 to 60. 3, 2, 1, go. So there you have it. This car has got quite a bit of power, and it's unfortunate that this is the 6-speed automatic instead of the 6-speed manual. There are a couple things that I was worried about when I got this car, or, you know, on the way here. It was an 8-hour drive. This car has been beat on. It is a rental car, and it has been showing signs that it was beat on. I'm not really surprised by that at all, but I think overall, given if you had bought this car brand new, I think you would definitely find some fun with it. It is real fun to take around, you know, tight corners and stuff like that, and it handles the road really well. It is somewhat of a stiff ride though, you know, that's kind of to be expected, but I think overall it's a decent car. So I hope you guys enjoyed this somewhat review of this 2011 Mustang with the 3.7 V6. I've enjoyed driving it, that's for sure. So if you guys got any questions or comments, don't forget to go ahead and leave those. And don't forget to check out my other videos and subscribe. See y'all later.